Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special chat cinema program. We are going, or episode, I should say. We're going to talk about the Berlinale. The 75th edition starts in 2 days, and boy, has this been a journey. We have a new head, Trisha Tuttle, from the London Film Festival. Wasn't she the BFI London Film Fest? Um, and it's going to be very special because this is, like we said, her first film festival. And in my opinion, it's been more of a honeymoon for her. I'm joined by Steve Yates. You guys know he is a contributor to the Black and Paper, and he's been on this podcast before. Let's get started.
Absolutely. Hi,
Steve,
Greg. Good to see you
hey,
again.
good seeing you. Tell me, what do you think of this? What did you think of the lineup?
To be really honest, of course, not seen any of these films yet, but it doesn't seem to have that like wow factor. It seems a little bit low key. You've got films, from the opening film, of course, Richard Linklater is a very big name, and star, Ethan Hawke. But yeah, it's kind of low key. So I mean, whether the program has got some hidden gems in there, we shall see. You've got the quite well-known Romanian director Rada Jude with his Continental 25. But then, you've got lots of Swiss films, German films, UK films. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but not doesn't grab me like thinking, wow, must can't wait to see that one or that one. But we shall see.
Yeah, well, any film festival is judged by the competition, and looking over the competition films, I didn't see anything that was, like you said, a wow factor or something that's going to
Yeah,
really generate a lot of publicity for the festival. Because as we know, the film festival, the Berlinale has been struggling lately, trying to attract film
absolutely.
festivals, trying to stay relevant, keeping up with Cannes or Venice. And just judging by the schedule, I think it, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be harsh or grind an axe, I think it fell short.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's many films here from different countries, Belgium and
Mhm.
across to Eastern Europe and then Asia and UK, of course. But I don't know. I mean, the titles interesting, but yeah,
Interesting.
looking at the actually, the notes, the film note, I think, oh, to me, all the competition is like the previous ones, like with Dieter Kozlik, um, where that, like, there was sort of like 4 or 5 films. I think, oh, they could be a bit heavy going.
Mhm.
This time, the whole competition seems to be a bit like that.
But Dita
You know,
light, do you think, or just too heavy, too depressing?
yeah, costly. Yeah, I mean, costly light in the sense that like the more sort of obscure or heavy duty ones in the competition, like you say, borderline, depressing as well. That seems to sort of be 2/3 of the program. It's all like there could be like a couple of gems in there,
Okay,
but
hopefully.
looking at it just I don't know it just looks like a separate section somehow rather than the main competition.
Well, speaking of separate sections, what do you think of the panorama and the forum titles? I think that's your area of specialties. You really like those a lot. Anything interesting?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think in the because the Berlinale had to, I think, cut its films, hasn't it?
Mhm.
For a few years, the actual number, and I think the one criticism that was leveled at Dieter Kostlik in the past was that maybe there was too many films in the Berlinale,
Mhm.
and that's been cut a little. But the panorama and the forum, and then you've got, of course, the forum expanded, which is even more experimental. From the films I saw already, that looks quite good. That looks quite
Really?
good. It seems to be like the competition that seems to be shifting on the high profile side.
Sorry, we lost you for a minute, Steve.
It seems to be that the competition and oh, sorry, Breck, I'm still there.
I'm here, a bit of a delay. Sorry about that, guys.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. there's a few sort of interesting films in the forum and the panorama sections as well, and then you've got the forum expanded. But yeah, that seems to be a bit more, I think, accessible now from what I've seen so far. Because in the past you might have had like a 4 hour science documentary, which is not really for wider tastes. But films I've seen so far, quite interesting, quite varied as well.
Really?
But, yeah, sort of
Anything stand out?
animation films. There was a very good one from France called The Incredible Snow Woman, about an Arctic explorer who comes back to see her two brothers and her ex lover. So they have like issues to resolve, and that was like a really sort of like a pleasant surprise.
Okay.
That's called The Incredible Snow Woman, and that's
Right.
from France. And then in the a documentary in the Berlinale special, it was Cool 75 about. I mean, it's just like special interest. So a documentary. Keith Jarrett did a concert in Cologne, and the documentary is about how the concert came to be, sort of quirky popcorn cinema, a bit ramshackle, but at the same time quite charming as well.
Okay.
And
Sounds
then there's one, yeah. So it's called Cologne 75 or Coon 75. So that's a good one. So yeah, so I've not actually myself seen any films from the competition program yet, but yeah, only time will tell. The next few days, really, to see what these films are. Because on the surface they seem low key, but they might,
maybe a
might be
gem or two
pleasantly
there.
surprising.
Okay,
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, like I said, film festivals based on the competition. It could be something there that blows us away. I had
absolutely,
Yeah, I mean, you
absolutely.
just never know. I don't judge a book by its cover. I did have a
Exactly.
problem with the opening film. Like I said before, I have nothing against the filmmakers and the creative talent. Don't get me wrong. I just thought, given the headlines of the Berlinale, I thought there should have been a bigger title, if I can say that, or something that would really hit it out the ballpark. And I don't feel that title did. I think that title was more for the local audience, and maybe there was about a bit of politics involved.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Richard Linklater is a high-profile name, and so is Ethan Hawke. I mean,
Of course, we all know that.
globally they know who these people are. So there's that, and of course, both of them have got a good track record in their careers. But yeah, the film itself, we'll see. It's set in 1943, isn't it, with the hit musical,
Yeah,
the opening night of the Oklahoma hit musical. So
I love that. I
we'll
love
see how that runs.
But the opening film is 160 minutes. At that time, too, where a film is 600. Oh my God, please, 160 minutes. Okay, I don't know if I can take it. Okay, I've seen so many long films right now. Like, what happened to anything under 120 minutes? I mean, I guess that doesn't exist in filmmaking anymore. Okay, like I said, nothing against the filmmakers. What do you think about some of the changes of the Berlinale Film Festival? You've been going there for a long time. I mean, I looked over some of the changes. Uh, okay, I'm gonna say I'm a bit skeptical. I don't really think there were the changes needed. I think Berlinale needs more radical changes, but we know this is Germany and they don't do
Yes,
that very well. No.
absolutely.
And I felt some of the ideas they have are retreads of the old Berlinale. And certain things I just don't get because in the and this isn't me saying this, everyone. This was in the Tagesspiegel. The schedule pretty much stops on Thursday, really Wednesday. The program just is over. It's very top loaded, front
Yeah.
loaded, as we say.
Yeah. It seemed to me that for this first festival, um, for Trisha Tuttle, it seems to be that it's going back to kind of like the end of Dieter Kuslik's era, but with cuts made. So it's like Dieter Kuslik light or something. because after Dieter Kurslik, you had Corona, and with the co-directors, which ultimately it was just sort of bad luck because of Corona, and then the fact that the double act didn't work. And now with Trisha, it's almost like it's actually been brought in to do like a patch-up job or something. And for the
Oh, that's a
first
good way of
festival,
putting it.
yeah, she's got the encounters section, which I think was a good move because I don't think anybody took to that anyway. It was almost like a main competition, but it's like a second main competition, but just not like worthwhile, really. A lot of those films could have just been assimilated into other sections. Like be it the panorama or competitions like that, or even German cinema or whatever. But as a sort of because the competition itself often doesn't like set the world alight, apart from maybe a few very good films. To have a second competition section was not, I don't think that worked. So I think Trisha's done the right thing by dropping that.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I've missed the Berlinale. Tell everybody, I've missed the Berlinale for the past few years because they didn't like a certain podcast I made, and so I have no idea what was going on during the last regime of the festival. And this year, yes, guys, I'm going to miss it again because, like I said, I'm not really sure if the films are strong enough to warrant the amount of time and effort I would put into it. Just saying, nothing against the filmmakers. I just wanted to see a little bit more. So I'm just saying.
And I mean, the other big problem is the reduction in funding, isn't it? I mean, once
Oh yeah.
again, just like the previous directors, Trisha has been thrown in at the deep end by, it's like, hi, welcome. But by the way, there's a lot less budget to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what was bothering me. Exactly. Because there were so many negative headlines before they announced the competition films, the budgets, the controversy from the year before, anti-Semitism and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It was just never ending. It wasn't about the film. It was just about these bad headlines. And that really put me off also.
Yeah, no, there's not. It's since COVID and since the end of Dieter Kurslik, I don't know. There's just not been a feel good factor about the festival at all, has there?
Good point.
It's since it came back in 2023 when it sort of came back properly. There's just I don't know. There's just been a real cold feeling about it.
That's a good point.
Like
good
a
point.
subdued feeling.
Well, one of the important cinema bloggers said the Berlinale is a place where films go to die. It's not relevant at all. And this is a really important blogger. And I think the Berlinale still suffers from that problem as right after Sundance and right before the South by Southwest Film Festival.
And also Rotterdam as well. Rotterdam and Sundance.
Yeah. And Rotterdam. I agree.
Two very big festivals. So you got Sundance, which is a very big festival in the States, of course, but then Rotterdam, which is basically, in global terms, just down the road or not so far away. It's a really big international festival, and it's getting, gets all the world premieres. And I think the Berlinale has always struggled to be in competition with Rotterdam, but seems to be struggling even more now.
But I'll tell you, I did the Rotterdam Festival online, and I really liked the way they curated their films. I was quite shocked at how accessible the PR teams were, and they would direct you to the filmmakers, and they would recommend this over that, or not. I shouldn't say this over that. They would say, "Okay, check this film out. We would love for you to look at this and give us your opinion." I felt the feedback and the interaction and the engagement was better at Rotterdam than at the Berlinale.
Interesting.
No, I mean, I'm just being honest. No axe to grind against Berlinale. I'm telling you, that was the Rotterdam people were way more welcoming.
Yeah.
Oh, he froze again.
Yeah. And there's there's always like Dieter Kurslik is like a 19-year tenure. He did seem to create a sort of atmosphere. It might have been more sort of clique based, but there did
I,
seem to be a sort of a little bit of a
I
vibrancy
agree.
in in his little clique, whereby that transposed. So you had like Juliette Binoche or Catherine Deneuve come in, or George Clooney, and it seemed to create a real
Right.
A-list feeling at Potsdamer Platz for a few days. Seems like that's a little bit of excitement, but yeah, it's that seems to be subdued since then.
Well, this year it almost, and even during the press conference, this year it felt like they were begging stars to come. They're really trying to get the high profile people to come. And even in the newspapers, felt more desperate than relevant to me. I'm just saying, even at the press conference, oh, we have more stars announced. And I told at Cannes, I wanted to say this at Cannes, this is never an issue. At Venice, this is never an issue. But for some reason at the Berlinale, this has become a big issue. They're looking for validity or credibility with the stars on the red carpet. But Berlinale was never a big red carpet film
Well,
festival.
as we know, Berlin used once upon a time, Berlin was
Yeah.
in June, wasn't
Yeah,
it? The height of summer. But as well as sort of Potsdamer Platz each year now, I mean, it's going back to the wilderness at the moment, isn't it?
yeah.
In terms of film culture, because of the Sony Centre and everything. I mean, oddly enough, the Arsenal cinema will be showing films for the Berlinale, but that will be gone after this festival. And where else is there? Because
Yeah, they closed down all the cinemas. I mean, all the cinemas are
yeah, exactly.
closing.
The Sony Centre's
Yeah,
it's closed, doesn't it, for
yeah.
films?
And the Cubex and Pacific
So there's
Plus, I
just
think, is
Cinemax,
left.
isn't there? There's just,
Yeah,
and that's it.
and that's it. So they're
But
going
the
to have logistics problems for the next festival.
definitely, definitely. So I mean, I know they've introduced a couple of places this time, haven't they? A couple of new cinemas, but they're not really sort of high profile ones, just
Yeah.
sort of additional ones.
And good luck getting around Berlin. I mean, if a U-Bahn or S-Bahn or something's not working or there's a strike, well, get an Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. But like I said before, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting festival. So far, I feel it's been mixed. The media has been gentle, but remember we spoke about this. I think their hands are on the handle of the knife.
Oh, totally, totally. When somebody has a new role,
Yeah.
of course, in like the English speaking world, they always call it like the honeymoon period, where it's like a new football manager, a new political party leader, or something that's a high profile position. They always have this honeymoon period where everybody's nice to them. But I think in Germany it's more a case of sort of like being polite, because if well, you've got to give them a chance.
Yes.
You can't just like get the knives out immediately because nobody's a miracle worker. But yeah, I think the German media, once they do get out the knives, they can be quite unforgiving. Yeah, they want good culture. They want to write about
Yeah.
a film festival to be proud of,
Yes, exactly.
and yeah, and it's a thankless task at the moment for any Berlinale festival director because of the cutting budget as well, because of the hub of Potsdamer Platz just being so desperate now with the Sony Centre closing down. So the logistics of the Berlinale, it's a big problem, and as we mentioned before, it's who would be brave enough to take on this role at the moment, and Trisha Tuttle has, but yeah,
Good
let's
luck, Trisha. That's the best I can
yeah,
say.
absolutely, absolutely, yes, yeah, the best of luck to her because yeah, she's really been thrown in at the deep end as
I agree.
any
That's
any yeah, as anybody else would if they took the job at this time. So
Yeah, but because
it's,
remember Carlo, they went after Carlo, I think before the festival even started. Wow,
yeah,
they really had the knives out for him. I remember at the screenings, people were complaining about that. Oh, they should have gotten a German person, or who is he and why is he here? Okay, I could feel the resentment.
because he was. I mean, but he did an A-list festival before, didn't he? With
Well, Locarno is very much independent.
oh,
Yeah, up and coming
yeah,
filmmakers and the people who are starting out. It was very known for that. But the
yeah,
Berlinale, like I
absolutely.
said, is a big festival. So I don't know. Oh, he froze again. Sorry, guys. So that
Yeah, it's okay.
probably his problem.
Absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
okay. Any more final words? Any final words from you, Steve?
Well, it's just when you go to the Berlinale on an annual basis. I remember during the Dieter Kostic years, he was there for 19 years, and in retrospect now, he ran a very steady ship. But the only problem was, especially like the last 5 years, it got very predictable almost. The same guests coming back with their new films. It just seems to sort of collapse into one, like very much like deja vu. So when you got the new festival directors after COVID, it was like a fresh start and there was anticipation and stuff. But that didn't work out, and now you've got the budget cuts and you got Tricia. So, like you said, the Berlinale is in trouble. Definitely, it's
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 go-
it's 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 stuck in a hole, and it's going to take a lot for
Get it out.
to get out of it. Yeah,
Good
and
luck.
I don't think you can blame the festival. Absolutely. I don't think you can blame the festival director entirely for this because there are certain policy decisions that are out of Trisha Tuttle's hands, like the Sony Centre, the reduction in budget, the kind of the relationship with the media. I mean, of course, she can be a diplomat there, or she can be charismatic and stuff, but it's very difficult to do that if the media is hostile or prejudging in the first place. So it's tricky for the Berlinale and tricky for the festival director. So but it also makes for a very interesting festival this year just to see how everything is going on. For sure, Greg. Yeah,
Well, the Berlinale starts in 2 days on the 13th.
it
See you
certainly
then.
does.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Brett, and speak to you soon. Thank you.